Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 of The Hallway. Chris and I talk about age differences in relationships, our times in college, managing our egos, and much more. So thanks again for tuning in and keep walking with us down the hallway.
Are we in?
Episode 11.
Episode 11.
Are we in? I don't know. Are we in?
I think we're in. We're not in the Matrix, right?
No, I don't know. Listen to our other podcasts if you're interested in the Matrix talk.
Right. You got to backtrack for y'all out there, you know? Ay.
Sunday, man. Sunday fun day. I was thinking about this earlier today. I don't even remember the last Sunday fun day that I've had in terms of actually getting drunk. I mean, because when I think of Sunday fun day, that's exactly what I think of. Going
Brunching
out.
it.
Yeah, brunching it, going out, basically bar hopping and club hopping in the middle of a day on a Sunday.
Yeah. I did like a mini one this morning. A mini one. It wasn't even anything crazy. Like, I went out and had some, like, basically late-ass breakfast. And then,
Okay.
you know, hit the farmer's market downtown just a little bit, you know.
A little strolling, strolling around, looking at the doggos.
Just a quick scroll with the dogs. Exactly.
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah.
That was it. And then I came home. That was it.
The weather's been beautiful, though. I mean, here in Florida, it was like 80s and rainy, and then all of a sudden, snap your fingers, and it's like 60 and sunny.
Right. So, like, this morning was great. It felt great outside, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, though, I don't know if you've, like, seen the afternoons. Oh, my gosh. And right when you're ready to get out of work at, like, 5, and you're like, hey, let's go ahead and get to my car. Nothing but freaking hailstorms and thunderstorms.
Oh, you got hail?
Oh, yeah, there was hail, yeah. No, yesterday I went to Disney, right? Yeah, I went to Disney, and there was a thunderstorm warning all morning long. Oh, my gosh, bro. It was tragic. I got a video of me out there, and, like, everyone's hair was, like, going sideways. Palm trees are leaning and shit. Like, it was it was for real. It was rough.
And people out there riding, I don't even know, fast track, like, yee!
Yeah, exactly. People don't give a fuck.
Oh my gosh. Yo, actually, I've heard Disney switch to a new model with the amount of people. So when I used to go to Disney back in the day, you could just walk up to the park and just go in. But now I guess you have to make a reservation, and there's a certain amount of people, and if there's like too many reservations for one day or something like that.
Yeah. It's proper trash. No, I started dating this girl recently, and she's Disney aficionado, as most younger women are these days. Let's be real.
Living in Orlando, I mean.
Yeah, if you live in Orlando and you're under the age of like 25, you have nothing better to do, you're going to Disney.
For sure.
Just it's a thing. So she's like, yeah, go get a Disney pass with me. I'm like, all right, cool. Turns out they actually stopped selling the like high tier one where you can go on like the weekends and all that. So that passes just aren't available anymore. You can only get the weekday one where you go like on weekdays to like one park with none of that park hopper stuff, none of the cool things. Like they just cut it out, and it's already expensive. I'm like, if I'm going to spend the money, I want like the highest tier one. Like this,
get the most of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and plus, I'm working every day till 5 p.m. I'm not going to take a day off work to go to Disney. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, so it's just like their model is really shifting in terms of what they're doing price-wise, and then what you get for that price.
I think that makes sense, and the reason why I say that is because if you think of it from a business standpoint, who are usually the people that are going to be going during the weekends, right? So it could be a variety of people, but I would say mostly tourists, right? Those are the days that Disney's going to be most packed.
True.
And I would say depending on the person, who spends more money at Disney normally? Is it a person that has an annual pass that's there all the time, that lives in Florida? That's going to be, are they going to be, buying merch like crazy? And don't get me wrong, there's some people out there that really love Disney. Cool. But mostly it's the people that come in from out of town. Yep. They'd want to reserve, probably reserve those spots for those people that are coming out of town that are like doing the whole Disney experience, paying like maybe $5 or $10,000 for like a week at Disney or something like that.
With the kids, the whole family's out there. Yeah. On their end, it makes sense. But the way it was described to me is that it's a capacity thing. They're trying to maintain their COVID capacity, and make sure that everyone that they sold a ticket to can get into the park. So you make your reservation and you also buy a ticket for a specific day. So I'm just like, come on, man, come on, you're killing me here. But I'm also, as a consumer, I'm like, dude, just take my money. Like, I'm trying to like, buy the highest tier. Take my money.
Throwing money at them. Come on, I just want to go on a Saturday, man. Come on.
Right, for real. I need a weekend. Like, I'm not doing this weekday stuff. Come on, man. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that I think really goes into, because I saw something the other day at Disney and I think other things as well, like really the pent up demand of COVID, and now with COVID really settling out, people are just out more than ever before. I mean, spring break was this week, right? So I don't know if those that are in school like had spring break, and I mean all of those hotels, like everywhere, all those resorts, everything's open, man. Everything is open. It's nuts.
Big time. Yeah, no. Recently, the big one was what's it called? Shoot. UCF, like Orlando spring break is actually like a week earlier than every other spring break. So like it's kind of shifted. Right now, all the other schools, even here locally, the like middle schools and elementary schools, high schools, they're all spring break is this week. So this coming week is going to be really, really tragic in terms of like local eateries and shit like that. I'm imagining this week for anyone that works in like any type of service industry in like Orlando, because we're literally built on tourism. You're gonna have a fun week.
Oh man, especially down in the International Drive area. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever done like a classic spring break? So what I mean by classic spring break is, have you ever, when you were in school, do you have like a spring break story where you went to like some all-inclusive resort or went somewhere, beachy or anything like that, and it was, got ratchet?
With the boys.
Yeah. With the boys, with the girls, with whoever, whatever you're into, man. With
the people's
trans species, man. Whatever you're into, man.
The they, them, the trees.
That's right.
No, I don't think I've ever like fully gone out and done that. I've like a few spring breaks in like high school. Me and some high school friends would like go to a friend's timeshare or something like that in South Florida, and we'd hang out, we'd have a good time.
But you're not old enough to drink, so it's not like you can go out or do anything.
Yeah. Nothing like adult level, like spring break, like the movies,
Wasn't that a movie?
Like that. Yeah.
Who was the rapper in there? Wasn't it like Riff Raff or something? He's like spring break, like forever, like I don't
something like that. Yeah, no, never gone out like that. I've always wanted to though.
Man.
I mean, I'm not in college anymore, so yeah.
But I don't think that still doesn't mean you can't enjoy. I think as long as you're under, I would say, so like what would the cutoff be to enjoy spring, like to really go to a spring break? I would say if you're under 35, you could still get away with it, but like you're getting into the late 30s,
chill, bro.
Go
home with the kids, dad.
21-year-olds. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I definitely feel that. I don't know, like I've been walking this fine line between like trying to stay involved in like these school activities and stuff like that.
Since you graduated, right? Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Snaps received. But like I graduated, right? And now I have time to do all these like extracurricular things. Like the club that I started on campus, I want to like be involved in it. So now I'm like, I'm gonna come in as an alumni advisor. Yeah, I'll help you guys out, whatever. Like I have time, I have money to help. Like you know, all these things, and I just couldn't before. I couldn't be as deeply invested into each of these programs, and not only that, but like the knowledge you can gain from like projects on campus. So engineering projects, there's tons of engineering teams and stuff that are doing tons of awesome stuff that I just want to get involved with. I mean, I've seen like one or two things postgraduate about like, oh, join this group of guys doing, like robotics or something like that, but I don't know, it doesn't hit as hard as like a college team, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm trying to stay involved.
The young, they're enthusiastic, right? They're doing it because they want to get experience, and there's just a whole nother level of enthusiasm there. No, I completely agree. The thing is, though, be careful, at least because I'm a little bit older, so like my alumni, a little bit older in terms of alumni, not that much older, but it's like there's, and maybe others can relate to this too. Don't get me wrong. If you've become a recent alumni and you still want to be involved, you totally can, and like still do that. But it almost kind of comes to a point where you kind of step away. So I felt that way, at least in the fraternity that I was part of. Like as soon as I graduated, you know, they would invite me back for talks and, you know, things like that. Still, you know, relatively involved. But then it kind of comes to a point where there's a lot of newer brothers and newer people coming into the organization that are kind of like now kind of taking over and leading the way. And then it comes to a point where you actually don't know anyone that's in the organization anymore, at least on campus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then, you know, at least in the organization that I'm part of, there was this guy that, he's probably at least 8 to 10 years older than me. And he's still, even though he graduated, he's still hanging around like the fraternity.
College.
And it's like, dude, okay, man, you're like almost 40, right? You're not a student and you're still hanging out like with these people, which I don't know, you know, it could go either way. Maybe you really, and I don't know, but it's more of like, it kind of seems like you're chasing something at that point, right? Like it's almost like phases of your life that you're moving in and out of. And I think, don't get me wrong, college is a great phase of your life. I think that you meet a lot of people that you're going to be friends with for life and a lot of organizations that you vibe with. But at some point, like you kind of move away from that and you kind of like transition to a different part of your life. You can still be involved, but like, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
My thing is like right now I've got a lot of my friends even that are still in college. So I'm kind of like, you know, they'll go do like college activities. Like the other day, my buddy was like, hey, let's go canoeing. And like there's a canoeing spot on campus for like students. And you have to like bring your student ID and like swipe your student ID. And I was like, I'm not really a student anymore.
You bring your ID, be like, does this still work? Like,
you know, I went and I was like, here's my ID, and they swiped it. It didn't like give a little error or nothing, so I went canoeing. You know, like
hey,
yeah.
Hold on to that ID too, because you can get student discounts and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so like that's one of those things where like a lot of my friends are still in it. You know,
which is all good. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah,
so I'm like,
and again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's more of like it's almost like you feel a natural transition towards like, you know, you kind of transition out of that. Yeah. But there's certain things that I think you can go to at any age, right? Like tailgating, I think is something you can do all the time. If there's certain like events where, you know, they want alumni to participate, like that's more than welcome. You know, you should be able to still wear your college sweater or whatever. Like you should still be able to represent generally.
I did it.
Yeah, of course, and you should. You should obviously do that. Yeah, it's more of like how involved with 21-year-olds you want to be.
And
I mean, at my age, right? You're like what, like 20,
23?
Yeah, exactly. So you're good. But I'm getting towards 30, and like, you know, you kind of like it's crazy, man. I did because I live so close to campus. I rode my bike onto campus because they have an eye doctor there, and like it was really close and. I just said, screw it. Like, I'm just going to get my eyes checked there. So I went and I parked my bike and everything. And I was walking around and I was just like looking around and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, did I used to be this young? Like, was I this young? Like, I remember myself being so much older than I was, right? But then you look around and like, see these 19-year-olds everywhere. Like, oh my gosh.
Bro, I'm telling you. I went like to this, I went bowling with some of my buddies, right? And they invited some of their friends, and some of their friends were like, yeah, I'll bring my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And so, like, we had a group going.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies, like, his friend was, like, 18. And it's like, okay. But he's, like, 21. So I'm like, wait. So, like, man, that's a big jump right there. So now we're partying with, like, 18-year-olds, and, like, we're all sitting around drinking and, like, you know, getting lit. And I was like, wait, but you're 18. And like, do I give you a beer or do
I order you a Coke? Like,
yeah, right. Like Coke on ice. Like, what's the deal? What do I do here?
No, I like it neat. I like my Coke neat.
Shaking. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. And another thing is like, I go to another party and a similar situation, and there's like this really cute girl, but like. She's 18! I'm just like, oh, what? No!
But at 23, that's not as bad. Like if
No.
you're 23, like 22, 23, and you're into like, you know, she's 18, 19, that's not that big of a deal.
True.
In my opinion.
It's not bad. It's just that, like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, dang, if I wanted to do anything else with this girl, I could never take her to a bar. It's just not going to happen.
Very true.
Yeah. If I can't take you to a bar with me, I mean, I go to bars a lot, so, you know.
What's that thing? Like, if they don't know certain things, like they're too young for you? Or something like that? Like, if she's never seen Rugrats or something like that, she's too young for you, or doesn't know what a VCR is, or some shit like that.
Exactly. There's limits to this. There's limits to this.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good question. What is the appropriate, like, when does the age gap get like less appropriate? So I'm trying to think of a way to phrase the question, but it's almost like, what is the limit? So is it, you know, maybe like 10 years? Is it 15 years? Is it 20 years? You know,
it
where
definitely
things
shifts over time, you know? Like,
I would agree. I would 100%
if I'm
agree.
60 and I'm dating like a 50-year-old, all right.
That's not a problem at all. Yeah.
Not a problem. But if I'm like 30 and I'm dating like a 19-year-old, it's like,
Yeah. My parents are 10 years apart.
Yeah,
my dad was 30, and I think just because of how it lapped, my dad was 30 and my mom was 21, and she had my sister. They had my sister, I think, when she was 23, and then me when she was like 24, 25. So they were 10 years apart, but I mean,
it's also a different time period too, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if it was like 15, like, I think at that age, I think 15 years would be pushing it. So if you're like 35 dating a 20-year-old, I'd kind of be like, okay, man, I don't know.
What are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Come on.
But then in your situation, right, we were saying, okay, if you're 60 dating 45, that's not as bad, yeah.
No, definitely. It's not as bad. It's not as bad. I think, you know, over a certain threshold, you just go crazy, do whatever you want to do, you know.
But I would say 20 years, that's kind of pushing it.
20
like if you're 60 and like they just turned 40, that's a little wide, I'd say.
That's very wide. I mean, I don't know, if you're 60 and you're still pulling that low, good on you, bro. Good on you.
What if it's the other way around? What if it's a 60-year-old? Have you seen those crazy like relationships on like TLC or whenever, when it's like this lady who's like 60 and she's dating like this 19-year-old? It's something. It's ridiculous stuff like that.
Yeah. Like
I don't know about that.
90 Day Fiance. Yeah. Nah, bro. I saw one the other day. This guy, I think he was like 45, and his fiance was like 22, 23, and was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And the parents were like, what do you think about the age difference? Yeah. And I was like, nah, not for me. I couldn't. My daughter? No, not my daughter. Sorry.
The thing is, I think where the problem, at least from like, I don't know, even just interacting with people at the age that I am now, like I see 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds, whatever, interacting. Yeah. It almost becomes a maturity thing. Yes. Like, and it's not that they're not mature. It's not that they're not mature in their own way, but it's almost like, you can just feel the difference in like mindsets.
Definitely. And that's a big part of it. Like, I'm fine talking with like younger people, but I need to like feel like you could have a mature conversation. Not even mature, just a normal conversation with me. And you need a level of maturity to do that without, just going off about your TikToks and whatever,
What I've seen sometimes is like sometimes people have, especially when you're young, and I think I went through this a lot. It's almost like I felt like when I was younger, it's like I had something to prove.
Definitely.
Like I felt like I needed to like show. It's like you almost feel like you need to show your maturity, and you need to show that how like deep your thoughts are.
Especially if you're an older crowd too,
Yeah. The problem is that when you're trying is when they can tell. Definitely. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's almost like these thoughts. Yeah, when you're pushing it, but these thoughts and feelings that you have, or like the way that you choose to structure it, or how you choose to like have a conversation. I think when you're and not like trying. I don't think trying is the right word, but more like forcing.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
You can
agreed.
feel when someone is like trying to, forcing this persona or
Pushing
something like
hard.
that, and that's when you can kind of tell, like, all right, are you
come
here
on
or
now.
Yeah.
And like it's a thing. So like, hey, okay, great on you for trying to have a mature conversation with me. Thank you, I appreciate it. But you failed. Thanks for trying. Try again next week with someone else.
At least they're trying. I mean,
Yeah.
at least someone's trying. I'll give them that. If you're trying to be having an intellectual, because it's ultimately practice. I think in order to have like deeper levels of thought, you almost need to be exposed to that. One, and then two, also practice engaging in that.
Yeah, yeah. No, you definitely have to, because that's how you learn. That's how a lot of people learn. You just have to keep doing it, especially when it comes to language and being comfortable in certain social situations. It's not something where you can just say, okay, I'm cool with smart people now. No, you have to like learn how to talk the smart lingo and like, hang out with the mature people in order to do that. Like, I'll use myself as an example. Like, I'm not your age. You're a little bit older than me, and most of our friends, our mutual friends, are, I'm the youngest. I'll claim it. But I grew up with an older brother. I grew up with my older brother's friends, So that kind of built my persona, per se, So you kind of gotta learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it can also be telling on specific subjects. So what I mean is like if you aren't educated in it, and this could be personality too, but if you're not as educated in a subject as someone, and you try to show that you know about it when maybe you don't, I think that can also be maybe not even a maturity symbol, not even like a maturity thing, but I would almost say like a confidence and an insecurity thing. I think there's a lot of power in saying that you don't know. Like if somebody's talking about something and I have no idea what they're saying, or they even use a word that I've never heard before, I think there's just so much humility, and like people recognize that. And if you're like, oh, I've never heard laborious, like I've never heard of that word, like what does that mean?
Where's it come from?
Like what does that mean? Like I've never heard that word before. And then you kind of give them an opportunity. You're giving people an opportunity to be like, yo, like, okay, this guy's human. Like he doesn't think
Show me
he
something.
knows it all. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because people love to teach. I think we talked about this before. Like people love to teach. And
Definitely.
if you can put them in an ample opportunity to do so, and you may learn a lot more than you think.
True. I myself find sometimes fall on the other side. I was like, nah, I know what that means. I know exactly what that word was. Yeah. It's okay. Keep talking. You don't have to stop to explain anything to me. We're good. Like, I'm good. I'm smart too, I swear.
Why do you do that? Why do you feel like you do that? This is turning into a therapy session now.
Should I lay back on the couch? Hold on. Do I need to hold a pillow or something? No, it's just like sometimes you don't want to stop the conversation, especially if you're in a group of people and you've got 10, maybe 20 people in a group just talking and really getting into it. It's like, I don't want to be the one person to slow down this person from explaining
If it's a
their
group,
story.
for sure. Yeah, if it's a group, definitely.
And even in a one-on-one setting, if I want to, like, I don't know, say I'm talking to someone that I want them to feel that I am greater than them, then I will not stop, I will be the, I definitely understand, like, to give them
in
the,
what situation do you want to feel greater than someone, Chris? This sounds like you got your ego floating around, dog.
Oh yeah, it is.
I felt that way too, though. I felt that way too. And I feel like we can all say that we've been in situations where you're like, I need to be the one that's the better person here in not the better way,
Yeah, I'm the bigger man. Come on, obviously. Come on. Yeah. So like, I'll be like chatting, say, I don't know, I run into, say, a girlfriend's friend or something like that. It's like a girlfriend's guy friend. I need to make sure that I am greater than this girlfriend's guy friend.
Yeah. I completely feel that. Feel that, man. That's like a competitive...
Oh, yeah.
Especially with guys. It's like, dude, it's so weird how you can... I don't know if you've experienced this, but... you can like not speak with guys and it's almost like you feel the tension of competitiveness. It's weird. Like you can be out at the club, right? And if you guys are are somewhere, and if you guys are both trying to mac on the same girl, you cannot say anything to each other, but the tension and like the competitiveness is like hot, and it's there, and it's like, it's nuts.
Because you know what's going on. We both know what our target is, and we both know that one of the two of us will achieve this, or none of us.
But I've found in those situations, like, forget the objective, or like even if you're trying to talk to a chick, forget it. Like, I think it works better if you befriend the person that you're feeling competitive towards.
True.
And like, if you befriend them, then you kind of diffuse the tension, and you kind of like become cool with that, and then you almost take your eye off the prize in a way which can like ultimately make you a little more approachable and acceptable. Because
definitely,
I think like people can sense the tension. Like people are I think people are a lot smarter than they let on, in the sense of like, if there's a situation going on and there's tension, like you can just naturally feel it in the room. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when we went to that when we started this podcast, right? We went to the music festival. It was almost like a year ago now. And after the music festival, it was like 2 a.m. or something like that. And we were walking around downtown, and we were trying to find another club to get into. And I remember we were walking by like basically the main area, which was like Wall Street, which is where like all the bars and everything is. And I remember us walking, I think you were with us, but I remember us walking, and there was just a lot of people like in very dense areas, and everyone's face was like so angry. And it's like we were walking through, and you just feel like the tension, like something's about to go down, And it's like, you can feel it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. No, I think with the bro on bro thing, sometimes I think I've even used the whole situation, like you were saying before, to like, hey, okay, let's just be friends. Like, hey, what's up, bro? How's it going? Like, I've used situations like that to control the scenario. So like, I'll say, hey, dude, no problem. Oh, you like my girl? All right, cool. Come over here. We're best friends now. And now that you're my friend, you can't touch my girl because we're friends. And guy friends don't do that. Back up. Thank you.
But in this situation, was she your girl, or was she just some girl? You see what I'm saying now?
I see. Well,
so like in the situation that I was talking about, it's like, okay, maybe you guys are both have the same target type of thing.
Okay, yeah. Well, I see it could be useful in both. You're breaking it down. Maybe you like distract him real quick. He's like, get out of here. Cool, you're cool. Thanks, bro. And then like I'll hit him with the, okay. Oh, you're walking this way? Oh no, sorry, I'm walking this way. Bye. Walk the other way.
The thing is though, like, okay, so if you're talking about a guy that's like a guy friend, and he's with he's friends with your girl or whatever. Yeah. I think that, I don't know, man. There's two different situations that you can like put, like, I don't know, position yourself, and I think they could potentially go two different ways. You can do one way is having enough confidence to like not even care, right? True. If you're confident like in yourself, and like you know who you are, like you don't really need to. I mean, and your girl obviously should show that and like chooses to be with you. So that should be like an immediate reflection. And if you trust her, you shouldn't have to like worry about that. Right. True. So you almost kind of like brush it off. And then if things are escalating to a certain point, that's when you kind of like step in. But bust it down. Because I would almost say like, if you try to like, throw around your boyfriend dick, right? Because I've been in this situation, right? Where it's like, okay, guys are trying to talk to my girl, like whatever. But if I'm like walking up in this situation and like, I'm your boyfriend, like blah, 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 throwing around your boyfriend, I almost think you put yourself in a position of weakness, because that could immediately
make you look weak.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this guy's, why does he need to like? I'm not even talking to her. Like that could just so quickly switch and put you in a negative light. So you almost kind of have to observe from a distance, like really analyze, and then only approach when it's needed. And your approach into the situation can kind of be like, like, oh, hey, what's going on? Like,
what's going on?
I don't think I met you yet, right? Like, you go up to the guy, I don't think I met you yet. Looks like you and yeah, exactly. Like, oh, cool, you.
Yeah, so. I definitely get it, and it depends on the scenario too. Where you're at, who you're with, who you know. Like, if it's obvious that, like, I'm talking, if we're at the club or something, and some rando guy's like, yo, deep looking, and I'm just like, I'm at the bar getting a drink, and I see him deep looking, I'm just like, hey, what's up, bro? You good? Give him the you good, the up and down,
the up down.
Yeah, like,
look him up and down, like,
you all right? He's like, yeah, no, we good. I was like, all right, I'm going back to my girl now. Good looks. Get out of here. All right.
Yo, but going back to something you said earlier and what we said earlier about the ego, like I think ego is such a dangerous. Like I think your ego, you can use it in different ways, right? Like your ego can be good because I think it can push you to like be better and to prove yourself and to maybe work on yourself or whatever it may be, but it could also be at your detriment if you like try to flex it and try to I'm so great, like whatever.
And that's when you start to use it as like an insecurity too.
Exactly.
You start to dig into that. It can be interesting what people do because you're fragile. Your ego is weak and you're not strong in yourself. And then you kind of push that out into the world and out into people, into your conversations, and it shows for many people, It's just like, okay, this guy, you don't like that. All right, calm down. It's okay.
And if the ego's too strong, I think it could come off as like cockiness and arrogance.
Definitely.
Yeah. I used to deal with that a lot. Like not deal with it, but I feel like I used to be that way when I was younger. Just because I felt like I had a lot of shit going on, and I mean I did, but it was more of like, I don't know, I had a hard time like suppressing the fact that I'm great. And it's weird to say that, and it's weird to say that, and I think that I still have an ego now. I mean, I think everyone does. It's more of like how you control it, how you carry yourself. Yeah. Like you don't have to try to be cool. It's like the cool guy doesn't have to try to be cool. He's just cool,
Definitely.
Like, yeah.
And the cool guy that like knows he's really cool and shows he's really cool. It's like, okay, but no, like you're a cool guy, so I see, But
so
now you're. Thanks, bud. Thanks.
Let's pat each other on the back, man. Yeah,
hey,
you're a cool guy, man.
Good shit. All right, gotcha. Yeah.
Dab it up. Virtual
So the dab. Yeah. And that's cool. Like we're cool guys, so I definitely get it when you're like, you gotta maintain some level of control with how highly you think of yourself and how hard you push your ego out into the world. Because if you don't, then you come off as that guy, and nobody wants to be that guy.
Nobody wants to be that guy that's trying to be cool. Yeah,
exactly. But you still want to push your confidence out into the world without pushing it. You just emit confidence, and you're the guy walking down the street, and you are confidence. Like that's definitely a feeling, and it feels great when you have it too, even in your own mind. But you don't need to like say it. When you're like, man, I'm walking down the street. And this shirt looks really fucking good on me, and my muscles are fucking popping. I am the shit, You don't have to say it. You just got a smile on your face. And you're living it. You're living it,
And but you know what it comes down to, like the confidence as well, is like actually doing shit that makes you better. I think that's like the whole thing, because I don't know, like people can be confident. It's like when you see someone like that's wearing something that shouldn't be wearing that,
Yeah.
And it's like they're walking around like like they're hot shit, and you're kind of like, I don't know about your life choices, man.
Right. You do you, bro. Yeah, very true. But hey, if you feel like you've built yourself up to a certain point, and that point feels good for you, enjoy it. Enjoy it for yourself. Definitely. I mean, regardless of what other people are thinking, for sure, but it's also really nice when other people obviously are looking at you and saying, dang, okay, he looks good. Like, you ever walk into a hall and like, or a room or something, and you feel good already, but then like other people are looking at you and not like, they're looking at you and smiling. It's just like, reinforced it. All right, cool.
Dude, and you know what happens? I saw this on like I listen to a lot of like self-help shit. It's not shit. I think it's good. But,
stuff.
Yeah, but one of the things that you notice is like once you really start really doing stuff, like really making moves and like improving your life and, in multiple areas, right? More areas than one. What happens is that people don't really like tell you good job anymore. Like they don't tell you like, oh man, like you're killing it. Like you're doing
They expect you to.
Yeah. It's almost like, and it's not even that they expect you to, it's that they, like, once you really start, like, getting some momentum, they know that you already know that. Like, not only have you like proved it, but you just keep doing it, and they know that you're making moves. So why would they even need to tell you that you're doing a good job? They don't. Because and it's not that you're not making moves. It's just they know that you already know that you're making moves. And so if that even makes sense, does that even make sense? I don't know.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does. But on the flip side, there are some of us that need like the little hit of, hey, I'm doing a good job, and you just told me I'm doing a good job, so thank you for letting me know that. Like, I was watching this thing, and this guy was getting married, and his new fiance was like, you don't really reinforce like how you feel about me and stuff like that. And you like, I know, but like every now and then I just need a little bit of reinforcement, like maybe
like
we
validation,
joke a lot.
What's the word? Reassurance. Like reassurance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need a little reassurance. Like we'll joke, okay, here and there, like I hate you, you're terrible. But then like every now and then to get that little bit of like, hey, listen, you're actually doing a really great job.
And I love you.
And I love you. And I love that you're doing this for yourself, and this is amazing. I think as men, even, like, as, I've been using this quote lately, the manly man, as an aspect of, like, all the stereotypical man qualities with emotions and feelings. The manly man, you don't get a lot of that, No. You don't get a lot of that, even from, like, father-son relationships. You don't get a lot of the, hey, you're doing really good. Let me sit you down and tell you just how good I think you're doing. And I'm not talking about like a weekly thing. I'm talking about like hey, you've made a milestone here, and I'm letting you know as an important figure in your life that I see the progress you've made, and I think it's great for you, and I want you to keep doing that.
And I'm proud of you.
Exactly. I for a few years in my early life, I didn't get shit like that, I mean, mostly because I was a little bit of a fuck up pretty early on. Cool,
Aren't we
That's
all a
fair.
little bit? Yeah,
Exactly.
aren't we all a little bit?
But then at some point, I got that, and I was like, damn, I ain't never heard that shit before. That shit felt good. Oh, God, I'm going to cry.
What do I do with my hands? Like, what do I do?
What's going on? Why do I feel this way? Like, it was crazy.
Yeah,
but, you don't know you need it until you don't have it. But the manly man usually doesn't get it. And usually doesn't get it, which is an interesting thing to say.
I think it's unfortunate. That's a really good point, and I completely agree. I think what's unfortunate in our society, too, at least in, they blame it on generational stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that some of it, the good jobs get diluted because of, the participation medal theory and all of these things where, okay, just for trying, you should still get a medal and all that stuff. And,
exactly.
And it's like, I would err on the side of, no, you should only get a medal if you win or, achieve some, like you're saying, achieve some sort of milestone. Like maybe you got second place. It's like, okay, that's worth something in a way, right?
A level.
Like you made it this far, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It adds value. It adds meaning to it. And there's a fine line between overdoing it and underdoing it,
100%. Yeah.
And it's like I said, like for me, I didn't get that for a long time. And then when I got it, I was like, whoa, hey. Yeah. And I mean, it makes it feel great the longer you don't get it, but hearing it more also would have been great.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree. But selectively.
Exactly. And it has to be for the right reasons. I'm not just going to throw it just to throw it. And I think it's the same thing when you break into relationships with other types of reinforcement, like saying I love you. In my past relationships, I'm not saying I love you every 5 seconds. I'm not telling you every night before bed. I mean, okay, I have a great night, good night, love you. Maybe I'll throw a little whatever. But then there's also those pivotal moments in a relationship where you truly feel loved and loving. And in that moment, I want you to know exactly how I'm feeling. And I want to express it to you with a word that to you will mean the same. And if I water it down and say it every 5 seconds, then okay,
Exactly, man. It's the watering it down. It really is. It's like if you give a compliment, and if you're exactly what you're saying. I'm going to repeat what you're saying, but it's literally exactly what you're saying. If you do something consistently, you're watering down the value of that. Like if you get your girl flowers every Monday or every Friday or whatever, then at some point it's going to become an expectation and it's not going to be valued. Right?
Exactly. Once it switches to an expectation, I think that's a great way of putting it there. Especially if it comes to something like flowers, right? I've now set a precedent, set an expectation that every single time you see me, I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this for you. So now
But I would say this though, in relationships, like if you want a long-term relationships, some predictability is good.
Definitely.
Meaning, you know what I mean? Like supportive and things
regular,
like that. You know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Agreed. I would like to hear that I'm supported on this, and this. But I don't want you to tell me just randomly while I'm sitting on the couch, hey, I support all your decisions and everything you do. And then the same time tomorrow at the same time, hey, I support all the decisions and everything you do. Like, you know,
bitch, shut up.
Exactly. Like, stop. Like, thank you the first time, the first 2 times, but like, it don't mean anything anymore. You know.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to say though is that I think it does depend also on a person's love language. So your example of, you know, saying I love you, right? To you, like your love languages may be whatever they are. So do you actually know what your love languages are?
Mine have been shifting. I think every time I've taken it, it's a little something different. But, you know, I lean on the physical touch and the time and all that. Okay,
yeah. Mine are acts of service and physical touch. So, like, if you, like, do things for me, and then, like, I think it's, like, if you do things for me, that's more of how I like to I think there's 2 different things. So it's, somebody told me this, but it's you, like the way that you like to receive love and then the way that you like to give love. Definitely. So for me, I like to receive love by like people doing things for me, like acts of service. That means a lot to me. And I like to give love through like physical touch. Like I'm very like handsy, like with my friends, and I get very excited and stuff like that.
Yeah. Agreed.
So like the give and receive. Yeah. So anyways, my point was that if you have someone that is maybe their love language is words of affirmation, because I've dealt with that in relationships before, because words of affirmation, I don't really need that. I mean, you know, sometimes, but it's not like something that but if you have someone that is really into that, you almost need to take that into account so that way they can get the love that they receive love in that way. Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very important to understand. I mean, I think there's situations where you could have relationships that you have that unmatched receive and give with love languages, and you can have a successful relationship like that. But there are certain situations where you can't. You know, your partner has an understanding of. So, like, say, I like to give gifts, right? And you don't.
That's how you like to give love. So you give love through gifts. Yeah.
I give love through gifts, but you give love through time, or you receive love through time, or you want to receive love through time. Now, me,
I see.
as your partner, I'm maybe slightly unyoked with you, and say I spend my time differently. If I don't make a commitment to meet you at a certain level in terms of what you need to receive, then how far can we go with this relationship, kind of thing, you know? I have to see you where you're at, and then you see me where I'm at, and we kind of either realize that, hey, this is not going to work for us, or B, we can make this work by adjusting this, and this in order to make all of our needs met, kind of deal. You know?
So you're saying if like the way that you give love and the way that person likes to receive love are different things, and then, you know, almost analyzing that fundamentally, and if those don't align, potentially, I mean, I would say the extreme is potentially questioning the relationship. But I would assume the first thing that you would do is kind of say, okay, like what, you know, how can we adjust in order to, you know, fill that gap? Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And it all depends on your interest in being in a relationship with that person. Obviously, if you're already like a year and a half into a relationship and you're just now seeing this, it's just like, okay, maybe we should talk through this because we got some history here. Let's, you know, and I'm still interested in being in it with you. So let's figure something out, right? Or versus like, hey, I just met you, first date. What's your sign? What's your everything? Like, you know, tell me about you. And then just like, you know, some girls straight up be like, no. Wrong sign. Don't want it.
Libra, get him out of here.
Right, dead to me. Which is kind of crazy in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Yeah,
but
I think like the whole horoscope thing is a pretty interesting topic too, just because I don't know if you've ever actually read any of those horoscopes.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously you have at some point. Everyone has at least seen and like read a portion of their horoscope and been like, oh my god, that's so me.
That's
like,
me.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that
And,
not that little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. And I've done that too, where I look at it and I'm like, wow, like this sounds like me. But then I don't know. I feel like if you read through a lot of them, they're all pretty relatable.
You can meld into a few of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're all pretty relatable. So I don't know, man.
I know. There's different seasons for them too. Like I don't know. Maybe last year I fit into my mold a little bit better, but like this year, you know, I've changed a little bit. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is self-fulfilling prophecy, especially for the people that believe in it, like heavy. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a Libra, so I do this, and now you just start doing that.
But what would bother me if like you use that as an excuse to like act ratchet or act toxic or like do some ridiculous shit like, oh yeah, it's because I'm Cancer.
People
like,
do.
It's not because you're like motherfucker. It's not because you're Cancer. Like it's because you're an asshole. Like
exactly, because you chose to do that. Get that shit out of here. Yeah. Nah, I don't care. What are you gonna tell the cops if you shoot someone? It's like, oh my god, I shot him because I'm a Libra. Take me to jail. Don't take me to jail. Take my horoscope to jail. No justification should be.
No way.
Nah, it's whack. But hey, people believe that deeply in it, so I'm like, all right.
Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you, man. If it works for you, it works for you.
You believe you're a tree, great.
You believe you're a deer, you're a deer.
You're a deer.
Oh,
shoot.
Do you have like a favorite animal?
Favorite animal?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm kind of basic. I'm kind of basic. I really like tigers and lions.
Manly man.
Man, that's me. That's me.
Yeah. I don't really have I don't pay a lot of attention to animals. I just don't have time for them.
Bro, what do you mean? Animals are all around us all the time, man. They're
true. I got more going on than animals. I'm busy.
No, the reason why I ask is that I actually, in the front of my house, I have, this is the second time, I think, in the past year, a duck is laying its nest, in my little garden. Yeah. A duck is laying its nest. And so, there's, a mama duck, and there is, a dad duck that's always there, kind of, chilling while she's chilling at the nest. And, bro, other ducks be trying to come around and mess with the nest. And Papa's like, hey, ain't happening in my... Dude, I'd be walking out in the morning, and there'd be... ducks jousting in my front yard, and I'm like, yo, what is going on, man? Yo,
dude,
they're freaking waving at flapping their wings at each other, picking at each other, it's crazy, man. These ducks are territorial.
The other boys come at the club, they're like, hey, that's mine.
They're like, hey, that's my girl.
That's my girl, back up. Maybe they're a little insecure about it,
Yeah, it could be. But the thing is, ducks are territorial, and I was thinking, generally, I would almost say, pretty much all animals, in a sense, are territorial.
Yeah, to a degree.
Are there animals that aren't territorial? If you have if you have a, I don't know, if you have an anthill and there's other ants coming into this anthill, bro, those ants are gonna get fucked up, right?
Yeah, well, what you doing, bro? Or do they work together?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There was actually a species of ants. There's a species of ants that, just goes around and just fucks up everything. It's in Africa or something. Or Australia or something, where it just goes.
Where the crazy ants are.
Yeah, man. It goes and it fucks up everything. But what they realized is that they actually compared ants and animals in general, simulations of animals that are generally more aggressive and animals that are generally more passive. And what happens is, if you think about it, the animals that are more aggressive, even with their own species, tend to butt heads a lot, and they're fighting a lot, and just kind of are always weakening each other, right? So animals that are super apt to fight are just going to keep fighting, and eventually they're just going to be weak, and they can't even hunt for food or whatever and die. But animals that are a little more passive and a little more relaxed actually tend to thrive, because
They're focused on building their ecosystems and living and survival. Yeah. No,
and if it's like if another ant comes to their anthill, they're like, "Yo, bro, you don't have a crew? Come join us.
Come on over." Now we're stronger for it,
Exactly.
Versus the other 5, they're like, "Yo, let me just kill you." Wait, but now there's only 3 cheetahs. Whoa, hey, we're dwindling. Yo, we gotta stop this.
Yeah, no doubt.
That makes sense. I mean, there's strength in numbers, there's strength in unity, there's strength in time spent doing non-destructive acts.
Definitely.
So, I don't know if you've been following this war.
Man, that's segue. I knew it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, but it's not even funny, right? So like, it's very unfortunate. And I think it's worth even saying like it's very unfortunate what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, and I really hope that because I mean even from work I know like this girl that joined our team not too long ago. Her boyfriend is Ukrainian and she's Russian and she has like family in Russia and her boyfriend has family in Ukraine and yeah, man, it's rough. Like it's crazy. Like in our generation, we've had like Iraq and stuff.
Yeah,
but that was like pretty extreme.
It's been a long-standing like
And we were too young, I think, to even internalize that.
Exactly, and for us to internalize it as fresh as it's coming to us now with all the information streams that we have. Very true. Seeing people being blown to bits right on Twitter, like, not cool at all. Not cool at all. I mean, it's definitely for us to be this mature and see things happen in the world. Honestly, I didn't think we would see a war till another 10 years. Yeah. But to see this start to develop and to see where it develops into next is kind of, it's something that we have to monitor because we are people of the world. We are people in the world. So these are things that might happen. War spreads, War causes issues. I mean, it causes issues, but it also causes industry. That's one other thing that I'm looking at, So there's a big bit of wartime technology involved in this whole thing. There's wartime innovation. In Florida.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Wartime innovation. I mean, if you think of maybe just wrapping up, like it's very unfortunate. I really hope that everyone that's in Ukraine and in Russia can be safe and all that stuff. So
definitely.
If you feel like you need to donate or do anything like that, like I think that anyone that feels strongly should do that. And I think that everyone wants, peace, not war. So yeah, I mean, that's my stance on it. I don't necessarily agree and I don't like war. I don't think anybody does. So
no, death is not worth it.
Yeah, I really hope it gets resolved soon. Yeah,
definitely. There's a rally going on in Orlando, I think next weekend for Ukrainian donations and stuff.
Okay, good. I was gonna say I hope it's to like raise money or something because that's all we can do right now.
Yeah. So I might check that out. I'll send you the info on that.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, but that was actually a really interesting point that you made, like wartime innovation. I think that's 100% a thing. If you think of like a lot of the technologies that, at least the most modern technologies that have been developed, a lot of them started off with war. Like I even think the microwave was invented. Literally. Yeah, like one of the staples of literally every household in the world potentially. I mean, not everyone in the world, but like a lot. Yeah. A lot.
And then it came from some dude walking in front of a freaking radio tower with a Kit Kat bar in his pocket or some chocolate bar in his pocket, and it melted.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that. He
just walked in front and boom, melted. Why did that melt? It only melts when I walk in front of this thing. Holy shit, wow. Yeah. And another staple, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was developed by the military. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What? Tell me about that. Do you know like the history, like how
I don't know
or why,
the whole of it, but same, radio technology. Some guy in the lab's like, wait, I can send data over radio? Great, I can send more data over radio, and you can pick it up over here? All right, cool, we got it. Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Yeah. Bro, but almost every current innovation has been developed through military efforts because that in general is what pushes us to and also gets the funding in order to explore things to the limits that it needs to in order to utilize it. And it's super unfortunate, man. It's super unfortunate, but it's true.
I think it's also pushed a lot of the world into the innovation, though, because one thing everyone wants to feel is safe and secure, right?
100%.
So that's why...
That's the hierarchy of needs, right? Isn't that the first,
Yeah,
like the very first thing? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need to feel safe where I'm at home. So if I could throw massive amounts of money at my safety, great. Now, during the times of not war, all I have is the time to build things to make my war better and smarter and easier, right? So I'm trying to innovate. I'm trying to innovate on my life. I'm trying to innovate on how to destroy and also...
But you're not pressured. So I guess it's like the pressure for innovation during war is even more so, hence the development of... Because they're just pressured to develop these new technologies in order to get ahead of everyone. Whereas almost like when you have that safety and there's no war, there's no real anything like that, nobody needs to really develop anything. So the innovation that you're pushing is more for like, I guess,
other things.
Less, like things that are less important on the hierarchy of needs rather than safety.
You get innovation into like simpler products like Wi-Fi. You got Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Great. You know, plenty of other things. You've got DARPA that gets tons of money. I mean, U.S., our spending is like all to safety and security, military, all that, military projects, all that money is over there. And there's so much of it out there, you know, so much of it. But
that's why sometimes I think about that. I think about living in the United States. And don't get me wrong, like, other countries are awesome. Like, I want to, I want to live, I don't know if I've told you this, I think I did, but, I want to go get my MBA in Spain or somewhere else and just live abroad just for a little bit and then come back to the United States because I think there's just so much of the world to see. But I enjoy living in the United States, at least the time period that I have, simply because wars have not been fought on our soil, right?
Big one.
That's nuts, man. That, could you imagine if we're sitting here and like in Georgia or something, or just a state away or somewhere in our state, like there's bombs and like there's shootings and there, people are dying. Like that's crazy to think about.
And it's real.
It's real, so man. Real. And it's super unfortunate that, that other people like live in countries that aren't as fortunate as our country. So don't get me wrong, taxes are a bitch, but like at the end of the day, like, dude, I don't mind living in America. Like, really.
I'm happy to not have to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I'm sure at some point, if shit hits the fan and we all gotta pick up guns, I mean, you're looking at Ukraine, you got videos of teachers grabbing AKs, if shit hits the fan, you do what you gotta do for your safety. But
100%.
It's great that we have people to do it for us, and we've innovated to the point where we can help us stay safe. And we can do this podcast. You could listen to this podcast,
Exactly.
The Wi-Fi you're using to stream this right now.
Be fortunate, man. That's actually a super good point. Like, at the end of the day, like, there's so many things going on in the world, and you can, like, look at all the negative things, and you should shed a light on certain things that are going on, like we talked about previously. But ultimately, like, I do this at work, actually, and anyone that's listening, I think that you should do it too. But every Thursday, at least at work for me, with the people that I work with, is Thankful Thursday. The different clients that I work with, my teammates, whatever. Whenever we're going to the meeting, like, you almost train them. I'm saying this with air quotes. You're not really training anyone, but in a way, like, you train them to be grateful. Like, every day is Thankful Thursday. So when you go to a meeting, say, hey guys, Thursday, like, Thankful Thursday. Like, everyone, what are you thankful for? And you start off by saying something, right? You're thankful for the sunshine. You're thankful for your family. You're thankful for your health. But I think that it's super important, like, especially considering we live in a first world country, to really, like, reflect and be like, yo, how fucking fortunate and how grateful should we be for, like, everything that we have and where we are and all that stuff, man. We don't do enough of that. Definitely not.
No. And
so take that, great. Man. Thankful Thursday. Bring it back to your job, man. Do it.
Thankful Thursdays. I like it.
I like it. Yeah, man.
We just have Hawaiian Shirt Fridays, but it's all right.
Yeah. Hawaiian Shirt Fridays. Now with work from home, man, shit. Every day's Hawaiian Shirt Day.
True that, man. True that. It's a crazy world we live in. Crazy out there.
Oh, okay. I wanted to say this. So we were talking about, governments in the world and safety and all this stuff. So Ray Dalio, who is one of the CEOs of one of the leading hedge funds, one of the biggest hedge funds, I would say, in the world, just released a video called The Changing World Order. And essentially what the video is about, I highly recommend, if people are interested in this and kind of nerd out like I do, look it up on YouTube. It's 45 minutes. It's long, but it's high quality animation. He walks through. It's really good. Anyways, long story short, he basically reflected back in history, and he looks at all of the different empires that have risen and fallen in history. So there was the China dynasties that were 500-600 years ago. There was the Dutch, there was the French, and then there was, most recently before the United States, was the British, and then it was the United States, right? And what he really insinuates is that there's actually, so us as the United States are currently a declining power, and China is actually a rising power. And that, maybe within the next thinking about it, right? Maybe within the next 20 or 30 years, China may surpass the United States in certain areas in order to become the new leading power. And in turn, right, the new world order, which basically means a war happens between, the existing power and the rising power. And then ultimately the winners of the war kind of get to decide how the new world order is going to work. And through that is actually basically the reserve currency. And if you don't know what that is, basically here in the United States, and if you think about it, the United States dollar, the US dollar, is pretty much taken anywhere in the world, right? And that's really what a reserve currency is that people all around the world are willing to take this currency, want to save in this currency or whatever. And he basically talks about how the United States is potentially could be not even could be. He thinks the United States is in a decline and China's coming after. It's super crazy, man. The reason why I brought all that up is because of talking about the innovation and the wars and all of that stuff. We could potentially see a new world order in our lifetime, which is a little scary, but I think it's good to educate yourself and kind of understand things that are going on in our society. And I think what was really cool about the video is that he talks about when countries are rising to be the next empire. Yeah, when they're on their way up, everyone in the country is working towards a common purpose. Everyone in the country is believes in the leadership in that country, understands the vision and is united on the way forward. What happens, and you can even think about this, when you have more, it's the classic notion, man. More money, more problems, right? So when you're an empire, right, and you're safe and you're the fucking world superpower and everyone has money and everyone is doing, decently okay, obviously in the United States, I would say, compared to a lot of other countries, people are doing pretty all right.
Yeah.
You start to get more time and basically there's a lot of civil unrest. So there's a lot of issues where it's, if you think of our political system, very polarizing ideologies of left, very polarizing ideologies of right, and these internal conflicts that we have within ourselves actually weaken us as a country, because instead of us being united and being productive and doing what's best for our communities and our country and everything like that, where it's too busy fucking around with each other, and that we forget, that we need to maintain this status of, yeah, bro, it's great. I don't know, man, the video, I'm gonna stop there, but it's really interesting the way he describes it. I really like his content. I highly recommend anyone that is interested in nerding out on that, take some time to check it out. But yeah, anyways.
No, it sounds right. I mean, a lot of that makes sense. Another big thing of all of that is free time. You talked about it, time. What you spend your time doing and where you build your allegiances. So that those are big topics.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to hit those next week.
Where are we at? Yeah, very true. On that note, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Don't give them all. Let's a little sneak peek.
We gotta sneak peek. Guessing, man. Awesome, man. Thanks, guys, for walking down with us in the hallway. Chris, good to see you. Enjoy your Sunday, and have a great week.
Pat on the back. You're doing great, buddy. Doing great.
You're doing great, man. Digital dabs. Yo, digital dabs to the homies.
Catch you next week.